Welcome back to Inside Bristol. I have Jack Spurgeon here today, and we're talking about a topic that we haven't talked about on the show before. So that's sort of exciting, and it's not necessarily something you're going to expect. I wasn't expecting it when I said, Jack, what are we going to talk about today? And he said there has been a real issue with hoarding. So, and this can present some real dangers when it comes for the fire department and for all of us that may live like that.
Yeah, we're concerned about everyone, in both with the residents, family members, people who visit, plus firefighters when they're called to the scene. And we see it, we're seeing the trend escalate, not just in single family homes, but in multifamily homes and places like that where it increases the danger for everybody. And so the fact of it is that as the compulsiveness keeps growing with those individuals that don't see that they have an issue, and family members that really kind of either don't know what they're seeing or just kind of thinking, well, everything will be okay. But it gets to the point where the living conditions for those individuals, they get to the point where they keep material things and they're thinking maybe there's some significance to them, some value, or they'll come back to mean something in years to come. So they start getting that clutter. They start piling up on their stoves, sinks. Every free space they get in their home is cluttered, and they end up with just narrow walking spaces. So entrapment issues become some concerns. The fact that their living styles, they end up not being able to be productive with themselves, sanitary conditions, the whole 9 yards. And we're talking about material things, but there's also an issue with hoarding that has been associated with the amount of animals people get. They keep getting those and more animals, and then combine them into those living spaces as well. And so once they exceed the areas that they can keep things within their living conditions, then it starts escalating to the outside, and that's when other people start noticing and starting calling authorities and so forth of that nature. So it is a real concern, and is a disease that there's been a lot of research done. And the thing that is amazing is that you can start seeing these trends in children between the ages of 11 and 15.
That's shocking to me. I can't believe that.
So people maybe think, well, they want to keep that for some reason or whatever, and then one thing leads to another. And they did studies to show that most of the time it could be the fact that they grew up in that lifestyle, that they continue to live like that, or it could be a loss of a loved one, maybe even a relationship issue. The one thing that I thought was interesting is some people become that way after they've had a fire and lost everything in a fire situation.
Oh, okay.
When they go back to start their lives over with, they're thinking, well, I better keep this, I may need it, and they'll put it in some other section of the home because they're thinking, well, if we have another fire situation, it's the fact that end burnt, but maybe not the other. Well, I've got a bunch of stuff over here I can start over with again. So we're seeing that kind. So we're wanting to get the information out, because when we come there, let's say you have an EMS issue and we come for a medical reason, then it's hard for us to get you out of the structure itself. We can't get our medical equipment in there to start a basic treatment if we need to. So it creates a problem, and slowing down on what needs to intervene with the situation creates a problem. Plus we could become entrapped in fire situations,
right,
trying to go in there and rescue people.
It's very scary
as well. And the fact of it is that if you live in multi-story homes and you start piling up the upstairs and the upper floors, well, the weight limits on those floors carry only, maybe 30 or 40 pounds per square foot. So when you exceed that in fire situations, then the floor weakens a lot quicker, then everything starts collapsing, and that creates another problem for you when you're trying to get out as well. So we've got to notice these things and recommend help for our loved ones, because it's lead to unsanitary conditions that are not healthy. It leads to evictions in some cases that people rent, especially in these multifamily locations, and we're seeing more and more of that creating an unsafe condition for everybody around.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you talked about it today, because it's not necessarily something that we think about, and it's putting a lot of people in danger, and so something we need to address. So thank you so much, Jack, for talking about that today. And I'm sure there are places that you can go if you know of people that are living like this, and ways that they can get some help, and
Right, we can call it, the health departments can notify you where to go to, or your local physicians. Even your own, if you've got a loved one you're concerned about, your doctor can and direct you in the right place to get your loved ones the proper help they need. And the thing about it is, it's just we need to take time and sit down and talk to those that we care about. Try to find out what sent them in that direction, because sometimes we don't are not able to talk about certain things, and we know there's something going on, but we're thinking, well, I don't want to butt in, or I don't want to do this. And maybe it's just your neighbor, that you're concerned about. Just contact your local authorities, and they can direct you in the right place as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that information, and thank you all for watching today. We will see you next time on Inside Bristol. Have a good one.